feel like an actual YouTuber again. It's kind of crazy after like taking many months off, kind of off and on because of school, you know, and I'm sure I'll have to do it again here soon. Kind of crazy looking at my channel and being like, dang, I really have uploaded 13 times in 2 weeks. That's pretty freaking good. That's nearly once a day. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing another Playmates unboxing. I'm sure these videos aren't going to do very well in views because I've sat on these figures for way too long. But I have gotten so many requests to unbox the Playmates figures in the background that I like to hold on to some hope that you guys have some interest in hearing what I have to say about them. I did buy them after all, for some reason. Don't have the shelf space for them. Today we will be taking a look at Playmates' next set of figures, their Gigan and their Destoroyah. Now, if you remember in the last video, if you've seen it, go check it out, why not? I said that Playmates was a bit of a redemption arc, that they started out terrible and that they've slowly gotten better over time. Today, we will see that in full force. Figure we'll start with Destoroyah, because he came first. Not really, I mean Gigan came first, but I meant this version of Destoroyah came before that version of Gigan. I think you guys got the point of what I was trying to say right there. You're smart. Got him out nice and easy. They locked Destoroyah down way less than they locked the others down. As with the others, his tail came separate. Let's see how easily his snaps in, because the others have been fairly easy. He's so dusty. I think they've been back there like close to a year, and it went in super easy. And he's got this little tether around his wings. Came right off. Now his wings can open right on up. Look at that. Now he's looking real good. Hey, look at that. A good figure. I might just be saying this because I have nothing to compare this to. I don't have the other Destoroyah figures. Bandai, I think, made one. I don't have a Bandai one. The only other Destoroyah I have is a little Destruction City figure. He's about this big, so not really worth getting out for the comparison here. It's like up to his leg. Let's check this guy out. He's got the rubber tail on the end here. Can spin all the way around. That's what I like to see. Now it can turn just like that. His little bottom wings flap in and out. It kind of can go backwards if you want some like weird design with it. Can't really see them both, but yeah, they can flap in and out, which is good. And then his big wings can flap in and out. And again, you can like do this weird little backward wing thing. That's what you're all about. I don't know. They're rubber wings, so you're not going to have to worry about any of the little kitties breaking them. It might snap them off, but you know, they can pop back in. If you look right there, you can just pop back in. As for the legs, you know, the legs kick up and out. they don't look great. There's these big, giant, square gaps in his thighs. He's got to work on that. Destoroyah doesn't look terribly healthy. I don't know why they're there like that. That's super weird. I guess because it's giving the leg enough room to kick out. So the leg has room to move, but it looks pretty awful. The feet can also turn around, as with the other Playmates figures. I like how professional I am with these unboxings. My big dumb head's in the way. And then his little arms, little stubby arms, can't do much. They can just kind of like rotate. They're like rubbery as well. Not too much going on with the arms. The head can turn around, so that's good. Can't really do much else. There you go. You're not really going to worry about breaking the horn off either. You like how that's my concern? I'm like, what can I snap off on each figure? Hey, it's important info for any parents looking for Godzilla figures for Christmas time, which is coming right on up. It's important to know what your kid's gonna break on your figure. And with a figure like this, your kid's gonna break it if they throw it off something, because the body is plastic. It's a plastic shell, so if it hits the ground too hard, it's gonna explode. But as far as like worrying about things snapping off, they're not really gonna do that. Like I said, these wings are gonna pop off probably fairly easily, but you can easily slap them back in, as I've been doing. I don't think your kid's gonna snap this tail off unless they really try. They might, you never know. When I was a kid, I thought that my Trendmaster's Godzilla's head came off and revealed Mechagodzilla underneath, so I snapped it off only to find a bunch of wires, and then I broke the figure forever. So you never know what your kid's gonna do. But I'll be honest, as someone who's never had the pleasure of owning a Destoroyah figure, even though I did at one point drop like $300 in a comic store to pick up the SH Monster Arts Destoroyah special color version, only for them to call me back a few days later and be like, hey, come get your money back. We're not actually allowed to sell you that. That's not yours. Well, that sucks. That's a super irrelevant story. The point is that I like this. As someone who's never owned a Destoroyah figure, I like this quite a bit. Let's be honest here. The quality's significantly better than the other guys, but it's still much worse than a Bandai figure. It looks, once again, very unrendered. There's just no texturing. In any of the plastic parts of this body, there's no texturing. The paint, at least they tried, and at least the sculpture doesn't look ridiculously bad and laughable. So at least they tried with this one. I like things, I don't know, I think the sculpt is fine. You got the pincher tail, so you can drag Baby Godzilla and murder him. Everything is decent. That's how I would describe this. It's a decent figure. I'm just kind of hyped because I've never owned a Destoroyah, so it's like, finally, I get to own one. Maybe it's not the best Destoroyah figure I could have gotten, but hey, I've been looking for a while, and this is the best I could do, so I'm down for it. Because of that, I'm going to give it the very biased judgment and say that this is a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe that's reasonable, I don't know. I'm going to give Destoroyah a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Gigan. Let's get Gigan 2004 on out of here. Gigan's the first Playmates figure to come out in one piece. His tail is nice and attached from the get-go. Can spin it right around. Can't really do anything else with it. This arm is super locked down. It's so stiff, my lord. I also was expecting the hooks to be able to turn. The hooks can't turn? That sucks. Well, don't do them like that. Yeah, you can't turn the hooks? That sucks. I guess this is your Gigan pose. Gigan's not gonna be able to do much. I'm disappointed. I was so hyped for Gigan. I thought he looked really good. Disappointed in the lack of articulation. This one's missing like all the articulation that I've come to expect from these Playmates figures. What's going on here, guys? You were on an upward trend. Maybe I should have opened Gigan first. Well, let's talk about the goods. His little wings on the back, they're pretty good. What would you call these? Frills? I don't know. They're nice. Your kid's not gonna break them. Everything else on this guy, kid might break. It's super stiff. What a rigid figure. You hear that? He's snapping like crazy when I'm moving him. Maybe it's gonna like be one of those figures that you gotta heat up before you can do much with, but his legs kick out a little bit. This leg doesn't do much, but this leg kicks out quite a bit. The tail, like I said, spins very loosely. This one's super loose. Arms raise. That's it. Can't turn the head, can't do anything else. Like, you can maybe wobble the head, but that's all you're gonna get unless you heat him up a lot. Maybe, I don't know. Let's talk about what this figure does right, and it does a lot right. Articulation, this is by far the worst Playmates figure, but in terms of paint, so far, this is the best. He's got this really solid metallic blue all the way throughout that looks just like he does in the movie. It's this kind of bluish black color. I really like it, and he looks pretty cool. The red on the face looks really good. The red on the back looks really good. These wings look great. And overall, he's got a really cool texture. There's lots of intricate detailing with this design. Lots of good sculpting. I like the buzzsaw quite a bit. The legs look great. You can see the wiring all throughout the legs. The tail looks great. I like the spines on the tail, this metal attachment, and especially this little hook at the end looks really cool. Overall, in terms of sculpting, this is by far their best. I don't know if it's based on the Bandai version. I'm sure there is a Bandai version. I don't know. But overall, this is pretty solid as far as sculpting goes. It falls apart when you get to articulation because it just has none. It's just so little articulation here. I'm quite disappointed in that. Now, as far as comparison figures go, I don't have any other 2004 Gigan like this, but I do have what I believe is a 1972 Gigan. Maybe it's 1973. But I got a 1972 Gigan from Bandai. This one's a classic Bandai figure, nice vinyl plastic. You know, it's everything we know and love. I prefer this design over the Final Wars design by a long shot. I've always liked the 70s design way more than the Final Wars design. I hate that everyone uses the Final Wars design. That's another tangent. But overall, this guy's got really good texturing on the scales, and he does have this suit-like texturing, but it's a different type of texture than what we're seeing here, simply because there are two different types of suits. This suit was supposed to be much more cyborg-like, much more metallic. This suit was a little more organic, so they come across very differently. I like it quite a bit though. I like both of them on their own right. I think that the Bandai figure is way better in terms of articulation, and it feels better in your hands than this hard plastic, but ultimately I think this is going to be a choice of preference. If you want something that looks a little better on your shelf, you may want the Playmates one. If you want something that's a little more classic and can play with, you're going to want the Bandai one. Ultimately, it's kind of hard to compare these guys because again, they're two different designs, two different eras, not really meant to do the same thing, but that's the best comparison I got for you in terms of scale. The Playmates one's a little bigger than the Bandai one. There you go, that's how they match up. The only other Gigan that I can compare this to is the 2004 Gigan that I have, this big guy, this big Bandai America. The other one was Bandai Japan, this one's Bandai Creations, I believe. And you know, this guy's like huge, he's got tons of detailing, tons of texturing everywhere. It's just lots of the same stuff that I praised this for going on here as well. This one's a little more articulated, which I like. This is the reason that I thought the hooks could turn, is because he set the precedence for it. I don't know, I really like this guy. As a kid, I was always disappointed that I didn't have a Gigan Gigan in scale with my Godzillas because I didn't have the Bandai one until a couple of years ago. So I would have loved to have this figure as a kid, but this guy gets the job done as well. You know, they're both very good for what they are. Again, this guy's very disappointed because of the limited articulation, so I would prefer the Bandai Creations Gigan, even though he's significantly bigger than most of the other figures your kids are going to be playing with or that I played with as a kid. So that was always something that was noticeable to me and was a little difficult to get around when I was playing with toys, but I don't know. Can you tell that I'm like trying to review these figures through the lens of how would I enjoy them as a kid? Because ultimately nowadays they're all going to go on a shelf together anyway, so it doesn't really matter what they look like because it's going to kind of be like a quality over quantity thing when it comes to these Playmates ones. They're going to be mixed in with Bandai, and so they're going to look a little better. But as a kid, I don't know exactly which one I would have preferred. Probably this one because it's a little more articulated. Now, in the last video, I said that there was only going to be 2 unboxings per video. But it's time for a bonus unboxing! That's right, baby! There's just an uneven amount of figures, so it's time to pop out Kong. This bonus unboxing is sponsored by Team Kong, of which you are not an official part of. If you were, you would have the official Team Kong beard. Let's bust him out. First of all, I like the little background here. Should probably mention this. A little better than the other ones. A little more in line with Kong Skull Island. Got the nice picture on the back here and the little description. Good stuff. This would have been awesome coming out back in 2017. Why it took them years to finally put this guy out, I don't know. I mean, I know it's because Playmates didn't have the license back then, but why it took a company years to go, hey, let's put out a smaller Kong figure than the giant 30-foot tall Leonard Toys one, I don't know. As we get into the Godzilla vs. Kong unboxings, you'll see that I think this is by far the worst Kong that Playmates has put out in terms of their recent line. Just leaves a little something to be desired. His head is so small, if you've noticed. It's like proportionally small compared to his body. Articulation's fine so far. Arms can turn. Hands can't do anything. That's a little sad. Feet can turn. They're very loose on my figure. The legs can kick out. So you can do a lot of stuff that a kid's gonna want to do with a King Kong toy. He can do a lot of ground and pound with your Godzilla figures. And again, the head can turn. So in terms of articulation, although I would have preferred some little hand articulation, maybe some articulation here in the elbow, that would have been cool. You just got shoulders instead. Not really that big of a deal for a little kid. I think this guy's fine. Did I rate the other two? Did I rate Destoroyah? I rated Destoroyah, I think. I'll give Gigan a 5 out of 10. As far as this Kong, he's got pretty solid texture all the way throughout. You can kind of tell that they tried to sculpt him so it looks like he's furry. The face, while not terribly movie accurate, is pretty cool as well. Looks pretty good. And I don't know, I think overall it's pretty solid. Paint is about as good as it will be for a lower end toy. I'm going to give this guy, in terms of modern figures, a 7.5 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. If I was comparing Playmates Kong to his predecessor, he ain't doing so well. Here is my surviving Playmates 2005 Kong, who has been through the ringer for decades. When I was a little kid, I really put this guy into some abuse, dropped him off some high ledges. You can hear he's got the creaks and cracks of age. But this was a cool one, came with gimmicks. I don't know if they work. I guess that arm worked. The other arm didn't really work. Came with gimmicks, had articulated hands, could turn the hands, had elbows, shoulders, head movement, legs could kick out, knees could bend. It was everything you wanted. The sculpting was fantastic, looks great. The face is pretty cool, close to movie accurate. Lots of scars all over the body, so he's very movie accurate in terms of that. He feels like it anyways. Like I said, got the gimmick on the back here for the arm that could lock. This Kong had the articulated hands, the fingers that could open up and close so that he could tear some V-Rex mouth open. He's about the same exact size as the new Kong, but he looks bigger and bulkier than the new Kong, even though the other should be the other way around. It's just a way better figure than what we got nowadays. I don't know why Playmates had such a downfall from 2005 to now, but like, this is a great figure. It still is an awesome figure. This is exactly what I wanted as a kid. This I would have been totally fine with. But this I would have always preferred. Way more articulation, could do way more with it, and that was something as a kid I thought about. I didn't know it was called articulation, but I always knew that I liked the figures that could move a little more. He just feels cooler. I'm sad, man. What a fall from grace. If we had gotten stuff like this for Godzilla vs. Kong, that would have been awesome. But alas, we don't. At least they're better than I thought they'd be. Like I said, Playmates is on an upward trend. That's good. So there you go. The Team Kong portion of this review is over. Thank you guys for checking this one out. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out. What? You never watched my 66 years of Godzilla tribute? You know it's posted, right? I'm not supposed to give my opinion, but go check it out. And then you can tell me if you like it or not.